Only 5 legislative days left before the Senate's scheduled August recess. The upper chamber now in a sprint to pass any piece of the president's agenda. Lawmakers telling Maria on this program their priority, passing a continuing resolution ahead of the October 1st deadline. Watch.
The Democrats are going to shut down government October 1. We have to, whether we fund it through reconciliation or through a continuing resolution, remember, everything will get shut down again. This will be the 4th time in 2 years by the Democrats. So we've got to figure out how to fund the government, like just how do we fund ICE and CBP through reconciliation.
So you think we're seeing another government shutdown on the horizon before the midterms then?
Absolutely.
You've got the Clarity Act. You've got the continuing resolution. You've got the NDAA. You've got the Reconciliation 3.0. Are you moving on any of this? You've got 1 week left. What's the priority next week?
Well, I feel like we're trying to put 20 pounds of potatoes in a 10-pound bag, but we need to prioritize, get as much done as we can, starting with the funding of the government. Remember, Chuck Schumer, big government socialists, they've shut the government down 3 times already. So it's time to move that, and hopefully we'll get on these other bills as well.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune releasing the text for a CR to fund the government through December 11th, which does have Democratic support. I want to bring in Nebraska Congressman Michael Flood. He also sits on the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, so the Senate's proposed CR is different from what the House already passed. In particular, there's this language with regards to grants and the Office of Management and Budget and Russ Vought. And that came from Susan Collins, to be clear. It looks like there's going to be an initial procedural vote tonight on this. Your thoughts?
Well, we have to fund the government. Nobody wins in a shutdown. I mean, Americans lose in a shutdown, and it's hard to come back to Nebraska and look somebody at the VFW in the face and explain to them why they have to wait in a line longer than is acceptable at the airport. I appreciate that John Thune, the leadership in the Senate, is working to find a continuing resolution. We had a great last week in the House. We passed the CR. We passed Reconciliation 3.0. We're making progress on the NDAA, sent that over. And by the way, the other thing that John Thune's working on that we care about in the upper Midwest especially is the Farm Bill. So I'm hoping they have a good week over there so we can put a lot of this behind us.
Actually, Kevin Hassett was on with Maria last week and said that he had just spent the day working on the Farm Bill. So that's obviously underway from the White House perspective. Republicans have struggled to pass the president's agenda, however, and there's new polling reflecting Americans' frustrations with your party. This new CNN poll finding Democrats lead Republicans by 8 points on a generic ballot. Democrats are holding a significant advantage when it comes to enthusiasm with voters, Congressman. I mean, we're less than 100 days away from the midterm elections. What can you and your party do to boost support when you look at numbers like these?
Well, affordability is the issue, and we passed, and it became law, a housing bill, the first one in 36 years to increase housing supply, make it easier to get manufactured housing by not having the chassis, rolling back a lot of the environmental expectations for studies and such. So when it comes to the biggest asset or the biggest monthly bill that a lot of Americans have, it's either their mortgage or their rent. We are increasing supply, which should bring down, stabilize prices and make it easier to get a home. That was a huge win, on top of the fact that we passed this Congress the biggest tax cut in American history. Death taxes. Think about what we did there. We made it possible to transition the family farm to the next generation. No taxes on tips, Social Security, overtime. I mean, these are working class wins that Americans are starting to really understand. There's been a lot of bloviating from the left, but the reality is this has been a very successful Congress.
It's interesting that you mentioned all those things in the Big Beautiful Bill Act. At the same time, we've seen polling that even from the second quarter of this year, when people were getting those bigger tax returns, they didn't understand that that was actually because the Big Beautiful Bill, that disconnected messaging, if you will. So I think that's why it's so important to talk about messaging with you and your colleagues. Now let's talk about the other side here, because these progressive candidates have really gained traction across the country. And this has the Democratic Party worried. The race to watch this week, the Democratic Senate primary in Michigan, Congresswoman Haley Stevens facing off against progressive Abdul El Sayed. Recent polling has him with a slight advantage. Former West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin is saying his feelings about the DSA platform are real clear. Watch.
Heather, could you ever support a self-described socialist candidate?
No.
No way. My God, no.
And
Even
it
if they have some
surprises.
good ideas?
Well, I support the good ideas, but how could you support some of the crazy stuff they're for? Have you seen their platform? They're for just dismantling everything that we know, whether it be the structure of government, Congress itself, or the Senate they want to get rid of. And then they start talking about all the crazy things. No police, no this, no this, no that. Are you crazy? We want a crime-free area. We have to have police for that.
Yeah.
We want a strong defense. We want a strong border. But if Democrats can't say that, and they start lining up with the socialist demands of what you are to be a socialist, energy will be gone. There'll be no energy, okay? We have right now a tremendous amount of energy we're producing, and the world depends more on us than ever before.
Congressman, do you think the Republicans stand a better chance of keeping the majority in both chambers if these progressive candidates are on the general ticket?
Oh, absolutely. If I were writing a book about this Congress and this election cycle, I couldn't have scripted this. I mean, we are, as Republicans, united and ready to win in November. Look at what we accomplished in the House. We passed the NDAA, landmark reconciliation bill, a continuing resolution to fund the government. We're working on the Clarity Act. We're working on the Farm Bill. We could have E15 year-round for farmers and corn growers. Meanwhile, you've got Bill Maher, 100 days before the election, saying that his vote is in play. I mean, think about that. James Carville is saying if this guy in Michigan wins, he's out. He's not going to share a party with that. You couldn't script this. I don't know what's happening. I know there's a lot of really good moderate Democrats and Democrats that are probably looking at their party and they're saying, what is happening? And why is it happening just right now? These late primaries, this is like a stake in the heart of what the Democrats need to win. Meanwhile, as Republicans, we're united and we have a message of affordability. Right. It's really astonishing. And a lot of this is this mayor in New York that's ginned everybody up. And he's in the business of rent controls and pushing people to Florida and Texas. I mean, it's asinine.
Well, and you know what? The New York Post is reporting, speaking of New York, that DSA activists just signed this pledge to, quote, support and defend China and to promote understanding of Chinese socialism. They've got a monthly seminar on China. They say that Beijing has a, quote, strong democracy, Congressman. That's what they're pushing here. But people in New York bought it.
Tiananmen Square.
Yeah, but look, voters in this city bought it. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, I'm in the heartland. We have Democrats out here that are not anywhere near that. There's a few folks that they wake up every day and their mission is to tax the rich, and it goes on from there. Everybody should have free health care. Our message is, listen, if you need free health care and you can't work, yes, you'll get it. If you're disabled, you're mentally ill, yes, you'll get it. But if you're a 28-year-old male that can work and chooses not to work, you don't get free health care. And by the way, that resonates with a majority of Democrats and a lot of Republicans. And I hold these town halls. I see who's yelling. The people who are yelling, they are the socialist wing a lot of times of the Democratic Party. There's Democrats in that room that get that. And so what's happening in Michigan is a bellwether for that party. It's like you said earlier on this program. Remember, this is a primary. Wait till we get to the general. There's going to be a lot of Democrats that say, not on my watch. I'm not signing up for communism.
Well, that's what the focus is now. We're moving into the primary. Congressman Michael Flood, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back, everybody.